Phase me out, you buswhack.
A little while ago, I restored this little tractor, and it's now time for me to take it for a drive. This wasn't actually as straightforward as it looks, so let me take you back a bit and explain how I actually got to this point. In a previous episode of Pete and His Bus, I bought a crappy old tractor and I fully restored it. But in that video, I never actually showed the tractor running and driving. And there is a reason for that. The thing was a complete bugger to start. And by repeatedly trying to get it going, I pretty much ended the life of the starter motor. So my first job was to swap that with a part from a Ford 4000 tractor, which is faster and more reliable. With the new starter motor now installed, it was time to actually diagnose why this tractor was so difficult to get going. And your first port of call on an old-fashioned diesel engine like this standard 23C is the glow plugs. Why does a diesel engine have glow plugs? Well, it's simply to warm up the combustion chamber so that diesel will actually ignite. Unlike petrol, it doesn't explode that easily. The problem I had is that the glow plugs looked to be in perfect condition, so it was time to call in a professional. This is Sir Sparks-a-Lot. He does electricals for a living. Now, after wiring in my brand new starter motor and putting in a starter switch, and also temporarily replacing the glow plug switch, which I had completely melted, with one from his cooker, he had a look at the glow plugs. Now, outside the engine, the glow plugs worked perfectly. But inside the engine, they didn't, and that's because they weren't earthed correctly. So by adding a few washers in between the block and the plug, they now work correctly. And now the final issue, the diesel pump. It has a cover on it which is held down by two nuts, but one of them is completely threaded. And with this cover not being in place correctly, it allows diesel to come out and air to come in. And if these pumps have any air come in them whatsoever, Lord Barrington has advised me they will not start.
So new gasket, new stud, the switch off mechanism I've put in place. But to get this cover back on it, I've got to attach that spring and I've got to make sure that that little dot goes on that hook. Why do they make these things so complicated? Huh? So after all the work Matt and I have done, I think I am now in a position where I can push the starter button and it should fire. But of course, we won't know till I try. It's also about 4 or 5 degrees in the barn, so it's like the worst time to do this ever. But I was thinking, if I can get it started in this temperature, then I know I have solved the problem. Also, not all the switches are actually fixed yet. But it's all wired up and in a position where I can try. So this is unedited. I'm going to put the camera in the corner and we're going to see if we can fire her up. And that is what I call a result. So where were we? to another episode of Pete and his bus. We've got a lot of really exciting things going on here, and one of them being we had a visit from a chap called Ian who runs a YouTube channel called Hubnut. It's all about cars, really, really cool. He's a far better known personality than I am because he has just reached 100,000 subscribers. Oh, amazing. So he came down to celebrate the fact that he's reached that big milestone, and to celebrate he wanted to drive a bus. So I gave him RML 2355 and he went out driving. Can I just say, before you watch this video, he absolutely nailed it. He just got in there and got on with it. So what I've also been doing is I've been trying to think of a way that you guys can support the channel for the next phase of the build of 2730. And the next phase is actually really expensive because I've got to get counters fabricated, I've got to buy electrical equipment, I've got to buy bar equipment, and so the numbers go up very, very quickly. And the way I thought you guys could support me is I thought, why don't I sell them all a piece of the bus? Yep, not joking. In episode 12, I rebuilt the back end of the bus and a couple of panels came off, and I've decided to chop them into small pieces, and you can now buy a genuine bit of a Routemaster, actually RML 2730. Every piece will come with a certificate. They'll all come stamped with RML 2730 in it, and also they're all individually numbered. Now, I know what you're thinking, I want to be first because I want to get piece number 1. Doesn't work that way. I've put them all in a jar, and when I package them all up, you will just get which number you're given. So those are now available on the website. I thought it was a cool idea. It gives you guys a chance to support me. Check out the link and buy yourself a piece of RML 2730. The most expensive small piece of aluminium you'll ever buy, but trust me, it's worth it. A little while ago, a chap called Dave Lee retired, and he sold his company with the assets called Routemaster for hire. Now, a lot of you have been emailing me, messaging me, asking if I'm the one who took over the buses, am I the one who took over the business? So Compo and I have taken a little road trip to this beautiful house to set the record straight. Not only did the new owner of these beautiful buses bring his own beloved RF, he also brought his entire family, including the dog. So let's find out a little bit more about my new friend called Carl, who has taken on these beautiful Routemasters.
Originally they were owned by Dave Lee, who owned Routemaster for hire.
Right, okay.
We have now taken over the ownership of his website, Facebook page, and the name.
Okay, cool. So the name lives on, I guess?
Yeah. We hope to live it on for a lot longer.
Okay, cool.
And see where we get with it.
Carl's going to do the best thing for these buses really, because he is going to put them straight to work, transporting people for corporate parties, weddings, and all sorts of other events. RM1214, that had a lot of work done on the channel, right?
Yes, it did. So Dave Lee and his team done quite a lot of work on that. They stripped it out to bare, along with Lord Barrington. They re-rexined the sides, done an engine swap on it, back up to where it should be, and making it into a really nice Routemaster. So fair play to him and his team. I think they've done a grand job on it personally.
And the other ex-Routemaster for hire bus is of course RM1783.
So this is an open topper. I think I've been told there's only 2 of these left in the country.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it's quite a rare one.
Wow,
it's
cool.
Quite nice. Funny enough, it's been out for 2 days in London on a corporate work for Leo London.
Nice.
It's had a burlesque bunch of people dancing on the roof this week.
Where was my invite?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad bus, to be honest.
Nice.
Let us down this morning, had a bit of a diesel leak, but we've sorted that out now, an injector. So
Okay.
we've done that.
Yeah, that's the life of working with old vehicles, right?
Yeah, they've still got original AEC engines in them.
Okay.
So yeah, they are as they should be from day dot.
Brilliant.
Whilst Carl and Compo get to know each other, I take a look at his beautifully restored RF. The RF is actually one of the very few single deckers that I would personally consider owning. I think they are absolutely beautiful, and to top it all off, Carl's example is one of the nicest ones I've seen. It's been fully restored inside and out, and actually I'm going to have a look if I fit in that little driver's cab.
Oh, that is good. I like that.
So RF is a little different. I mean, obviously there's a lot of pieces that you recognize, but it's all a little bit different, and the gear selection is also a bit different. And you've actually got a different pedal setup with 3 pedals, and it's not a clutch pedal, it's actually sort of a switch. Look at all these cool original switches. I love it.
I need to actually stop looking at this bus because I'll either offer Carl money for it or I'll end up just driving it away. And on that note, it is time for everybody to pack their stuff, get in their bus and go on their way home.
Well, congratulations on your purchase.
Thank you.
And we're going to follow your progress as you go on, and I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you very much, mate.
That's got to be second. That's got to be no. Second one is on the bottom. Okay. By you. First is actually in front of that one. Okay. So.
I'd like to personally thank Carl, his missus, the children, all the friends and family, and the dog that came out to see me. We had a brilliant time, and it was so lovely to see these beautiful buses out in the open.
Now a bit on 2355. Her and I are in a long-term relationship. When I ride her, I know exactly what she smells like, what she sounds like, and what she should perform like. So the other day when I was coming back from London, I got in it, and in the back of my mind I thought, it smells like a bit of diesel. Never thought about it again, drove home, had a good journey, and parked it up. The next day I walk into the barn, and lo and behold, there is a bit of diesel underneath the engine. And there never normally is. So I should have gone with that original instinct and realized that something wasn't quite right. And this is it.
After a little bit of diagnosis, it was quite obvious that this tiny little bent fuel line was no longer doing its job. Now, it obviously didn't affect the performance of the bus, but these things only get worse, so it is definitely time to replace this section.
Oh, that one's really loose.
Now, where do I go for a fuel line like this?
So how much did I pay for this tiny piece? Well, it was over 60 quid. You might think that's crazy, but I had it in my hand within 15 minutes. It was custom made by someone in front of me to make sure that it would fit, and it's got a lifetime warranty. And those 3 things alone are worth all the money to me in the world. So let's get it fitted and check if our bus is good to go. that is a quick fix. This morning, the postman turned up and he gave me the longest parcel that I have ever received. And this is what's inside.
It took a minute to find, but I have bought 3 4-meter lengths of an 1.25 inch wide double feather edged aluminium strips. Wow, that really was a bit of a mouthful.
What this company have also done, they have actually also sold me a special underwater exhaust for my tractor. Check this out.
Peeve, what are you doing? Can you just get on with your bus, please, you tit?
The original strips that went in the bus are between 1 and 2 millimeter thick, and that dimension of strip is basically no longer available off the shelf. But what is available is exactly the same gauge and with the furl edge, but it's 3.1 millimeters thick, so slightly thicker. It seems like a lot on paper, but when I actually compare old and new, it is not going to be a problem and the stuff is going to look great inside the bus.
The first thing that I'm going to tackle is all the small sections that have been cut out of the strips that are attached to the ceiling.
So what is really annoying is that all of them have been cut here, which is right next to that original hole, and it's too close to the edge for me to drill into the new piece. So this one, that one, no problem. This one, I'm either gonna have to bring it in or stick it on the other side. The first one is in. It's actually not too bad. As with all these things, the first few are really tricky and you get it wrong a couple of times, but now I'm right in the zone and I'm confident that it's going to look good. So let's get to the other side.
So there you have it. All 10 inserts have been placed and fit correctly, and the strips across the ceiling on the downstairs of our bus now look complete again. And actually, I've got to say a big thank you to my sponsor RTS for supplying me with this amazing rivet gun and the really high quality rivets. It made this little job a lot easier.
Who remembers me removing the emergency exit window out of this bus and replacing it with a normal one? Well, if you remember that, then you've been watching for a while, because that's many episodes ago. To do that, I removed the card that sits in between the windows. I'm now going to put the original stuff back, and then I can put the strips below the windows and above. Let's go! Actually fits really good. Obviously, because they're the original pieces. Nice. Okay, this one I've just realised has got a bit of damage on it. So I'm going to look in the back and see if I've got another one to replace it. Result! I found one. It's a bit dirty, but it'll work. This is why you never ever throw anything away. Okay, so with the old rivets out of the way, I should now be able to fit this plastic strip. Originally these were made of aluminium, but they were so brittle and you'd bend them, so they were slowly over time replaced with plastic pieces. It's as if I never took that window out.
And now for the custom bit. On the passenger side of the bus, the only window that is still original is the small central one. Now I'd like to put the surrounds on it, but of course the original pieces will now not fit.
So this is half the card to go around the central window on the serving side. But I only have one set of that, so I'm going to kill a full set. I'm going to cut it in half. But just before you all go, oh my lord, these are genuine Routemaster bits, this one is broken on this side, and this one is completely cracked here. So I'm going to get rid of the broken side and use the side that's salvageable. Ta-da! I got really lucky. It cracked, but we're all good. I can use that. That's lovely. My cut was so good, I got confused which one was which. Whoop whoop. Oh, nice. And this and that will get covered with a strip, and it'll look like we were never here. After a lot of scraping, poking and scratching, I've decided that I have actually got to remove all the paint off of these panels, because if I don't, I'll put the strips back on there, and then where the paint's missing and where it's not, you'll see it after you've painted, and it just, you know, why settle for a second-hand finish if I can get it right? But I am not going to remove all the paint with just a hand scraper and a drill, so I've employed this bad boy. Whoa! It's going to speed things up a lot. Oh yeah! So the paint is all gone on the curved panels. What a mission that ended up being, but I'm so glad I did it. Just before I put the big long 4-meter strips up, I'm gonna quickly do a little bit of etch where the strips will be so there is no corrosion in the future between the bus and the strips. So I'm gonna do that right now, and because I'm spraying in an indoor place, for once, I've remembered to put on my mask. That is lovely. That is absolutely spot on. Doesn't happen very often. Now the last rivet on this side, the strip fits beautifully. Woo!
And now I'm going to put back the central strip, which I only took off to take out the emergency exit window. So that's a job all done. Now it might not look like I've achieved all that much this time on the bus, but there was a lot of hours spent in the downstairs saloon to get all the old and new to match up. And I'm now at a place where everything here is staying, so I can focus on introducing the new. I'm taking a little trip today to meet a lovely chap called James at Chiltern Automotive. Now this company specializes in work on buses and trucks of all ages. They do regular service work and also full-blown restorations. And by the looks of the things I've seen in their shop, they do a very beautiful job indeed. But the real reason I'm here is actually to collect something big and red.
Ooh, what is this?
For those of you that watch the channel on a regular basis, you'll know that a while ago, Richard and I went and looked at some buses that were sort of abandoned-ish, and Richard actually bought one and we drove it home. Well, in that yard was another bus which belongs to another friend of mine, and that is the bus I am sat in right now.
You are looking at RML 2543. Now the current owner bought this bus in 2015 for a certain project, but this project has kind of changed, so no real decisions have been made on what to do with this vehicle. Sadly, it's been left outside and that does them no favors. Now the downstairs is okay because it was actually refurbished in 2015, but the upstairs sort of ex-party bus lounge concept has really suffered. But none of this matters because all I have to do today is get this bus started and drive it back safely to the barn so plans can be made for its future.
So the first job is to unisolate the battery. Aha!
So we say our goodbyes to the lovely James at Chiltern Automotive and we hit the road. After putting in well over £100 worth of diesel, the tank still wasn't very full, so this thing had been run very low. Bit dangerous when you don't have a fuel gauge.
Okay, here we go.
The roads become smaller and the tree branches get closer, because that's the biggest problem driving a bus around, tree branches, I reflect on yet another successful trip in an old bus. We've done about 100 miles today and we've had no problems whatsoever. In fact, this bus particularly is mechanically really sound. The engine's smooth, the power steering works correctly, the gear change mechanism works in manual and in auto. So overall, I've been really impressed. And to think that after sitting outside for 7 years, all this thing needed was a set of batteries. I wonder if you were to, let's say, buy a brand new Range Rover, park it outside for 7 years, and then try and do a 100-mile journey in it. I think your experience would be very different. There we are, another small piece of my giant jigsaw puzzle that is a bus has come together nicely. She is slowly becoming very, very beautiful. Thank you all for watching. I'd also like to thank everybody that's been buying merchandise, and do not forget, you can now buy a piece of the bus and you will be directly supporting this build. So check out the website and get your piece before they all run out. A couple of other thank yous this time. First of all, Sir Sparks-a-Lot, thank you for fixing the tractor. Did a great job. I'd like to thank my father and my missus for coming on that road trip with me and filming me drive that bus on the public roads. That was really cool. Also like to thank James at Chiltern Automotive for being so helpful and for showing me all his workshops. And the biggest thank you goes to a chap called Ian from Hubnut. Ian, thanks so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, the missus and the dog. We had a great day out. His video has been a success, guys, and loads of his subscribers have now followed me. So I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Pete and his bus.